Hey guys, so I wanted to um, welcome you to Shopify Success Secrets. I really wanted to start this to be able to provide value to people and tell you guys my story, tell you about what it is that I've done. So my name is Matt Hagberg, and I started with e-commerce. I've been in business operations for a while, and been in parts of marketing through business operations, including social media marketing. I'd actually dabbled in Facebook ads and Facebook marketing back in when Facebook first became popular, but it wasn't as effective as it is now. So, um, in the beginning of at the end of 2016, a friend of mine introduced me to e-commerce in the way that we now know it, in the drop shipping style and things like that. And he showed me what he and his friend were able to do in the fourth quarter of 2016. So I decided on January 1st of 2017 that I would really dig in beyond just the online marketing piece, but the actual e-commerce drop shipping piece. And so I decided on January 1st, 2017, that I would go ahead and get my store started. So this is my actual store. It's not actually currently running. I closed it down a little while back, and I'm actually in the process of handing some assets over and things like that because I build stores for other people now. And this is just kind of I really just keep it for memories and all that kind of stuff. It's my first baby, so I just kind of keep it around. So, in any case, I wanted to show you guys exactly what it is that happened because what happened in my story is um, so I started in January 1st, and I want to break down my story a little bit. So, I'm going to show you my first week so you guys can see how crazy it can be. So, the cool thing is, it only took me on my fifth day. I broke $100, which was great. Now, I've learned a bunch of things and been able to actually break that in the first day or two. Now that I've learned some things, and some of you have seen some of that in some of my posts, where you can get sales on day one, break $100 on day one or day two, as long as you know what you're doing. So, but this was my experience at first, and then my next week, this is when it got really interesting. So I got really excited when I made this, and then I was super excited when I made this, and then I got depressed again when I got back down to zero because I thought as soon as I started making sales, then it would jump to $5,000 a day, which it doesn't happen that way. So don't freak out when it goes up and down. So then the next week looked like this. Now let me tell you the story about this day. This day, I launched a new product and I sold two of them. Well, this day, I got an email from the guy's parent, the guy's dad, who bought the product, saying that his son had gotten his credit card and bought two of my products without his consent. So I had to refund two of them. So that was a very depressing day. So this week was pretty depressing for me. And actually, this was the week that I called my friend up telling him e-commerce sucks, this doesn't work, all this kind of stuff. But I knew it worked because being in business before, or being in business for so long, I understand how business works. To be making a profit in the second week is unheard of. So then I'm just going to show you the second half of the month. Then it got even better. I started seeing more sales, just sticking with the strategies and the tactics that I know, which is really just building on marketing basics and business development basics. And just built on top of that, strategies that work through Facebook ads and with Shopify and things like that. And just kept getting better and better. And I just kept taking the money I was making and reinvesting it back into my business. And so in the first month, I had made over $2,000 in the first month. Now, as far as cost and everything goes, it essentially means I had broken even in the first month. Now, um, for a lot of you out there nowadays who are just getting into this, when I tell you I broke even the first month and basically made no money, that may sound bad to you. But trust me, coming from someone who understands and has been in business for a while, most businesses are happy to break even in their second or third year, let alone their first month. So when I saw this, I knew I had something. So I just kept taking the money that I was making and reinvesting it back in, and in doing so, and just scaling the concepts that I already was using. And in doing so, in February, this was what we did. And the other cool thing is, by February, I had figured out how to really maximize profit levels. So I was averaging about 20 to 23% profit margin in all of these for this revenue right here, which is pretty good as well. And then in March, again, just kept reinvesting all of my profits, and I didn't pull it out. I was working a full-time job at the time. My wife and I both were. So then in March, this is what it looked like. And I had come through, and again, I was making around 20% profit margin. And right around here, a guy who has more experience than I do, he was looking at my store, and he said, your profit margin could be higher. So I did some tweaks. I really looked at my numbers, and that's what this day was I pulled back, looked at my numbers, and then relaunched with profitability in mind. And so I increased my profitability to closer to 30% after this mark. So that was going pretty well. And then April came along, and I did, get a load. I did a little less in April, but my profit margin was actually higher. So it was, it actually turned out to be an even better month from a profit standpoint. But this is when I started making mistakes. So the mistakes I started making were, number one, all of those, I didn't have any back end. So all of those sales I was making, I didn't have any way to follow up with people. I hadn't built that in to create more sales from those people who were already buying from me. I was just so focused on, hey, I'm getting traffic, that I just kept focusing on that. Plus the full-time job and everything I was still having. So this was really a part-time gig. So for 2 to 4 hours a day, I would be spending on this, and then the rest of my day was spent at work. So I didn't focus on what to do with customers after they had received my first product, whether it was getting reviews, following up with them to see what else I could sell them, whatever the case may be. And the standard is, if you can get them into an email sequence each month, you should be able to average $1 per customer every month in your buyers list. Well, as you can see over here, I've had over 12,000 buyers. So if I had done this correctly back then, I could actually pretty much have $12,000 coming in on autopilot had I done it correctly. So then May came around, and I started exploring. I made the next mistake, and I started exploring new ideas. So I actually started shifting away from Shopify and into things like ClickFunnels and other platforms, which is why this number dropped so low. And that was the second mistake, was shiny object syndrome. And that really hurt my bottom line, because all I really did was took the revenue I was generating through Shopify and moved it over to different platforms rather than duplicating my efforts. So it really didn't, while with ClickFunnels I was able to increase my value per purchase, it wasn't really, it distracted me more than anything else. So that's the other thing I would warn you against. And then you won't be able to see the data here, but then what happened was, I'm going to put this back up here for you so that way you can, I just like looking at this every now and then. So that was the first 90 days. So then, come August, so I was still generating anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 a day, just depending on what was going on in the day and all that kind of stuff. Well, I had started coaching people. So in order to coach people and kind of give them an edge, what I was doing was testing some potentially questionable tactics through Facebook. And needless to say, Facebook caught up with me and said, no, we don't want you doing that. You're banned. So they literally banned me. My entire account and everything. I lost everything. So that really took a hit. So basically come September, I was starting from scratch. And so that's what I wanted to show you guys, is the process, what to learn from what I've done, how to take the successful pieces and turn them into profit, and how to take the mistakes I've made and look at how you can use them to your benefit and learn from my mistakes so you can avoid them later. So that's all I want to talk about. I just want to do a quick intro right now, but I wanted to just prepare you for what's to come. I'm literally going to walk you through this store, what was done, what wasn't done, and what I would recommend for you moving forward, so that way you can, again, learn from my successes and make money off of it, but also learn from my mistakes and be able to put in business strategies in order to make money faster through your business and also have a good profit margin. That's one of the things you don't see a lot posted with gurus and things out there now. They'll post their revenue all day long, but they won't post their profit margin. So that's the other thing I want to show you guys, is how to actually make a living off of this stuff rather than just making revenue that you then have to turn around and give away because it costs you so much in ad dollars and fulfillment. So follow along. I'm going to walk through this. If, in theory, if you just follow along, you could potentially build out a successful business through this coaching without ever having to go pay for any coaching. I won't promise that, but it has the potential for that. So follow along, and we'll have some fun together. We'll talk to you later.